Welcome back, rail fans, to the Pain and Suffering Railroad. This is Grandpa Bob, and this is my railroad. Today, I'm going to talk about this engine that's right in front of you on the turntable here. It's a 260, a mogul type steam engine. It has designated 260, meaning it has 2 pilot wheels, it has 6 driving wheels, and no trailing trucks under the cab. So that's why that's how they designate steam engines, as either pilot trucks, how many drivers they have, and then how many trailing trucks they have. So we have to turn this engine because it's the engine that brought the morning passenger train up to Prairie in the morning from Payne. And that's going to be heading back to Payne after our mixed train reaches Prairie. So we're going to be doing some switching moves after that in another video. But right now I want to talk about this. This is an Atlas turntable, and I had to get a small turntable to fit this area. And I was looking like I was going to have to scratch build one because nobody makes one this small. Then I discovered that Atlas made one this size. It's actually a 72-foot scale feet. I wasn't sure if this engine would fit on it. This is the largest engine I have, longest one. So I bought it and brought it home and sat it down on this extension that I have here. It had no tracks on it whatsoever at the time. And I set it down to see if the engine would fit first. And the engine did fit. As you can see, it just fits. So I said, great, that'll fit what I wanted. So it's a manual crank turntable. It doesn't really turn realistically. It stops at each point where a track could come in. And I made this building, a board and batten building, to cover the manual crank. I didn't want to you can get a motor for it, but it's really loud. And it runs with rubber bands on pulleys, and the rubber bands keep breaking, I found in my research. So I decided now I'll just stick with the crank. So I'm going to turn it a couple times so you can see how it works. And I had to measure this building out and everything, but here's the crank that I covered so it's not exposed all the time. And now I'm going to turn it so you can see how it works. And as you can see, it stops at each spot, which is kind of unrealistic. Okay, so I've turned it manually most of the way because it stops at every point along the way. So I'll just finish turning it to the lead track that comes into the turntable here, and we're done. And I'm going to replace this. I have it set up so it'll fit right in. And now we're going to get this show on the road and get this train out of the mixed train out of the station. So we're going to start off. So the schedule that I made up for this is, like I said earlier, is they have a morning train that sets out in the morning from Payne that comes up to Bree. Once that's come up to Bree, this mixed train does its switching that it needs to do to make up the train that needs to go down to Prairie and then back to Bree. So when this train gets back to Bree is when the passenger train, the morning passenger train, collects its cars, which are in the front here on this stub siding in front of the control tower. And it'll take that tank car and spot it on the interchange track at Bree, where right now there's 2 loaded hopper cars. So we'll do that in the next video after this train gets there, and I'll show you how we turn things around, and then the GP7 will actually, with that combine, will end up on the siding where these 2 passenger cars are right now. Going to be where it is right now at Bree, only has a turntable, so we have to disregard all the other buildings, the engine house and the coaling tower and all that. That doesn't exist at Bree. Pull into the station now. And stop it at the station. And that's it for today, folks. Next time, as I said, we'll do some switching things around. Business car at the end, Ty's business car, will be taken back by the morning train back to Payne. And we'll set that tank car out on that interchange track. This is Grandpa Boss Bob. Yeah, this is Grandpa Bob signing off, leaving on track 1.